All right, let's dive into a really chilling story from 1924. It's called The Restaurant of Many Orders by Kenji Miyazawa. It starts out with these two super arrogant hunters deep in the woods, and believe me, it ends up as this absolutely surreal, cautionary nightmare. So, let me just ask you something to get us started. Imagine you were lost, you're freezing, you're starving, and then you stumble upon this incredible restaurant that looks like it's going to save your life. But what if every strange rule it gives you is actually a step to prepare you to be the main course? Okay, so our story kicks off with these two, let's say, very wealthy young guys from Tokyo. They're way out in the mountains, all kitted out like proper British soldiers, but yeah, their little hunting trip is not exactly going to plan. And you can just feel their attitude right from the get-go. They're not just disappointed that there's nothing to hunt, they are genuinely annoyed. They're literally complaining about how they wish a deer would just pop out so they could watch it fall after they shoot it. I mean, the arrogance is just dripping off the page, and it is totally setting us up for what is about to happen. And just like that, things go from bad to catastrophic. They're so lost that their own professional guide gives up and just disappears. Then, their two huge prized hunting dogs, they just get dizzy, foam at the mouth, and keel over, dead. So in the span of like a few moments, these city boys are totally stranded with no guide, no dogs, and no clue where they are. Now get this, because this little detail tells you everything you need to know about these guys. One of the hunters looks down at his dead dog, and his first thought isn't, "Oh no, my loyal companion." No, he literally says, "Well, I've just taken a 2,800 yen loss." He's worried about his wallet while he's, maybe about to die in the woods. The priorities are just, wow. So they're at their absolute breaking point, right? Starving, about to just give up. And then they see it. Out of literally nowhere, there's this grand, gorgeous Western-style building, the Wildcat House restaurant. You can imagine their relief, right? They think, we're saved. Our luck has totally changed. So, of course, they rush inside. And this, my friends, is where the story gets its name and where things get really, really weird. The restaurant starts giving them orders. The very first sign they see, it says, "We especially welcome plump and young people." I mean, huge red flag, right? But them? Nope. They are thrilled. They're actually congratulating each other because, hey, that's them. Their ego is so big it's completely blinding them to this massive, massive warning. Then the next sign says, "This is a restaurant of many orders, so please be advised." And they just think, oh, cool, this place must be super popular, with lots of food orders to fill. They have no idea it means the restaurant is about to give them a ton of orders. And bam, the orders start rolling in. First up, please leave your guns and ammo here. And what do? They're like, oh, of course, how rude of us to bring guns to dinner. And just like that, they hand over their only weapons, willingly. Next door, the sign says to take off their hats, coats, and shoes. And again, they just do it. No questions asked. They're thinking this place must be incredibly high class. But what's really happening is they're stripping away everything. Their gear, their status symbols, and all of their protection. Then it gets even weirder. A sign tells them to put all their metal stuff, we're talking cufflinks, wallets, even their glasses, into a safe. And their genius explanation for this? Oh, the kitchen must use electricity and metal is dangerous. Right. So they lock it all away and just keep going, deeper into the trap. Okay, this is where it goes from weird to deeply unsettling. There's a jar of cream with a note. Rub this all over your face, hands, and feet. And they come up with another excuse. Oh, it must be to keep our skin from getting dry in here. The cream looks and tastes like real milk, so they even eat a little of it. They are literally buttering themselves up. And for the final touch, a bottle of perfume to sprinkle on their heads. But this time, they notice something's off. It doesn't smell like perfume at all. It smells exactly like vinegar. But do they run? Nope. They just figure it's a simple kitchen mix-up. And with that, they are basically buttered and seasoned, ready for the oven. And this is the moment the penny finally drops. All that creeping dread just explodes into pure terror as they finally figure out what is really going on. So here it is, the horrifying double meaning they missed the entire time. They thought restaurant of many orders meant a busy place with a lot of food to prepare. The awful truth? It's a restaurant that gives many orders to its customers to prepare them as the food. They aren't the guests, they're the meal. And then comes the final instruction, the one that leaves zero room for doubt. Please rub salt from the jar all over your body. Imagine that. They just look at each other, faces already covered in cream, and they freeze. The full, horrible truth just crashes down on them. They panic. They try to run, but every door is locked. And on that last door, there's a sign. It says, "You have been prepared splendidly. Now come into our stomachs." And through two keyholes, get this, one shaped like a fork and the other like a knife, they see two blue eyes staring back at them. The two guys just break down, crying in absolute terror. And then they hear whispers from behind the door, voices saying things like, "Hey, they figured it out. They aren't rubbing in the salt." And another one says, "The boss's sign was too obvious." They hear talk about the plates being washed and the boss just waiting there with his napkin and knife. So it seems like it's all over for them. But just when all hope is lost, the story takes one more crazy, supernatural twist. All of a sudden, they hear this ferocious barking. Woof! Woof! And it's their dogs, the very same dogs that they watched die earlier. They come smashing through the door behind them, alive and furious. So the dogs just charge that final door and it bursts open. Out of the darkness, you hear this awful screeching, like a massive cat fight. And then the whole restaurant just evaporates. It dissolves into smoke. And suddenly they're just standing in a cold field, shivering. Their stuff is scattered everywhere and their guide is running towards them, shouting their names. It's all gone. So they're saved. They pull themselves together, even buy some birds on the way back to Tokyo to save face and pretend the trip was a success. But the story leaves us with this one absolutely haunting detail. Their faces, which had crumpled up like paper in their terror, they never went back to normal.
And that leaves you wondering, right? These guys went into the woods thinking they were the kings, ready to dominate nature. And instead, they found out they were at the absolute bottom of some bizarre, supernatural food chain. So what was it? Just a hallucination from hunger and fear? Or was it something else? Maybe nature itself just has a way of putting human arrogance back in its place.